Oh, ho, ho, ho. This one's going to be a good one. Out the way, you lot. And you. Come on. Come out without taking the whole shelf apart, why don't you, Shamrock? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, don't have enough hands. Oh, yes. Hey guys, welcome to the video. You know, I have needed to do a large amount of NW openings in one day for a very long time now. And today is finally going to be that day. Although I'm probably going to upload them sort of sporadically as and when. Probably relatively quickly to make up for all the NW openings I haven't done over time and to try and tackle the backlog. Now, today is the day where NW openings changes a little bit. Because you guys probably think that this is that kind of slice of life anime with no real continuity and no consequences for those involved, but all of that changes when we enter the Jimmy Hart saga. And we are finally going to unbox the full Jimmy Hart Build-A-Figure wave Royal Rumble WWE Elites. And this was an interesting wave. In many ways, it was a god-awful wave, or at least it turned out to be a god-awful wave. For me, it was a bit of both. You know, it was kind of like, I wanted Earthquake, because even though this is probably the version of Earthquake I would want the least, you know, double jointed elbows, they weren't exactly the easiest things to come by. Dakota Kai, just huge pass from me. Big E, I don't particularly need, but it's not a bad Big E. And the Yokozuna I could have gone either way on because I do already have one and I do prefer the older head scan, but I do also like a good rice bucket. So it was about 50-50, and I also would like the Jimmy Hart, but I wasn't completely convinced by either of these two. And in the end, as things sort of turned out, I got the whole wave. Now, I've sat on these for a while. I actually even sold them at one point on eBay to an American buyer before I realised that because you get taxed by both countries, it's not really worth doing that. So, yeah, in the end I realised I can't really sell these in the UK. This is still worth nothing, this is still worth nothing, and this is still worth nothing. And I figured, you know, we may as well get this Yoko out, which is in obviously much better condition than the one I have, and go from there. So we are finally going to pull the trigger and unbox this wave. And I'm going to take the Earthquake out of here, take his arms, double jointed elbows, and give them to my other Earthquake because I now have the original classic one. And what I'm then going to do with this, because it is slightly out of scale and is about the same height as Andre the Giant, is I'm going to have a padded singlet made and turn him into giant haystacks. I'm obviously going to change the head, but yeah, that's my plan for him. But we start the Jimmy Hart saga with the Jimmy Hart legs. We open the Dakota Kai first. I have sat down without scissors again. Now, this Dakota Kai was one of the greatest shelf warmers I've ever seen. Not up there with Miss Elizabeth, because she did eventually sell out, but I have not seen many figures reduced to £8 that stuck around as long as Dakota Kai did in my local Smiths. And, you know, they stayed for so long that she got released from the company and came back in the time that, you know, it took for them to sell out. And what's fascinating about it is that they don't seem to exist in America. They seem to be very hard to come by in America. And yeah, I imagine that's probably one of those sort of soft exclusives that Mattel do from time to time. I mean, it could be an official one, I don't really know. But here we go, Dakota Kai. There's the figure, we've got the front of the box, etc. We got on the back, it says, from Auckland, New Zealand, 5'6", finisher, go-to kick. Careers highlights: NXT Women's Tag Champion, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic winner. In 2020, the captain of Team Kick. That's a terrible team name. became the first Kiwi since the Bushwhackers to enter the Royal Rumble. Very interesting. And we know what the rest of the wave is because we've just seen it. And in this instance, we are getting Jimmy Hart's legs, and we're going to start building the boy up. So, I don't think we need any further waffling on this one. Let's just get into her and finally free her from her plastic and cardboard prison. Now, I don't know an awful lot about Dakota Kai this era, or, you know, after she came back. I don't really keep up with WWE anymore. But, you know, she's cool enough, and it's another woman for the women's division at the end of the day. So, here is the backing card. It kind of goes with that comic book theme they were going for Royal Rumble 2022. Kind of fits that. Again, we don't really have much use for these backing cards with this new unboxing format. We are going to cut this tag on her wrist. It's crazy how much easier these unboxings are to film and to edit with the front facing camera, because I'm not having to reach over the camera, so I'm not having to edit as much stuff out. And you know, it's just a lot of things that would be kind of hard to describe just make it a lot easier. And I still can't cut through these tags though, apparently. And I think it sits better in your head knowing that you're gonna have a kind of like, rather than being hunched over the camera doing all this stuff, lights blaring on you and stuff. Still got the light blaring on you, got a lot more space between me and it though. Oh, the legs are tied in, man. I've never seen that before. There we go. Some Jimmy Hart legs. And now we will carefully push the bubble out. Or push her out of the bubble, rather. Oh. Put your feet down, love. And we'll get these interchangeable hands as well, and then we'll get into this figure. So let's take a look at you, my dear. First of all, I think the head scan is pretty good on this. She does have a slight mark on her nose. I think the other Dakota, I think this is the stronger of the two heads. The other one is probably more interesting to look at because of the colour in her hair, but I think this one actually looks more like her. And it is nice as well. It's a nice hairstyle and everything. It's pretty cool. We've got the posed hand, of course. This, I don't know what you would call this bralette that she's wearing was a bit of a production line problem because none of the purple in any of these was painted all the way. So you basically had to, like, when I was in the shop comparing them, I was looking at which one had the most purple on the boobs, because it's literally like, I mean, on the bottom there, that kind of looks like it's maybe spider webbed or something, but on the tops, it's literally just not fully painted. And I don't know if that fits the attire that she was wearing or whether they are supposed to be fully purple, but it looks bad. On the trunks here, we have a kind of bronzing kind of coloration on there. Of course, she's got the white knee brace, which is a nice little touch. It sits really tight to her leg as well, so that's cool. I'm going to assume this is slightly smaller than the men's ones. So again, that's pretty cool because, you know, it's you're not getting a lot of men's braces, never mind women's ones. She does have the double jointed elbows, which was very hit and miss in this wave. Earthquake had them, Yoko did not, and Big E, I don't even know because of how... Big E also did not. Probably another reason as to why this sold so poorly and why this is still such a valueless figure. Anywho, I mean, I would have liked the double jointed elbows on the Yoko. I'm not really sure why you would do it on the Dakota Kai, but at least they're on the Earthquake, I suppose. Of course, if the Yoko had double jointed elbows, it probably would have convinced me to open these a bit sooner as well. The paint line on her waist is a little bit bodged, you know, there's a bit of flesh colour on her waistband, but you can also see that tiny little detail of that belly button piercing, which is pretty cool. So next we'll get into a bit of a joint check. So the head is slightly concerning me, because even when I was just literally just sort of looking at the face, the head is moving. But that is just very slight, and in fact needs a fair bit of action to move. It does wobble slightly wherever it goes, but that's probably not going to factor in an awful lot in an animation environment. The head, it can look down, but not really a lot. You know, it's not amazing. This shoulder is, I mean, that's an articulated shoulder. That's good. Not all of them move like that. I'm trying to get the bicep, but it's the arm's so thin, it's just kind of moving around. Maybe a little bit loose on the bicep. Elbow is really good though, and that interchangeable hand, pretty good for the time being. 2 for 2 on the shoulders, can't argue with that. Nice elbow. And that arm is fine for now as well. So, torso joint. Maybe a little bit loose, but it holds its shape, you know. And it can go side to side, which is cool. You know, rather than just kind of being an ab joint. Not a massive range of mobility in there, but I mean, yeah, it's not really loose. It's easily movable, but it holds its position pretty well. It holds its shape pretty well. The waist is fine. That leg is good. Knee is nice and tight. And the boot goes up, so that's good. Can we get, have we got a boot cut in there? Oh, we've got like a swivel under the knee brace. I see. You can see on the other leg here. There's the swivel. Ironically, the non-braced knee is a bit stiffer. And that leg moves like totally fine. But another problem that these figures had, this particular wave, scale. Earthquake, as I've already said, out of scale. Big E, out of scale. Dakota Kai, 5'6" by the box's reckoning. Shall we stick her next to someone who is 5'6"? So the easiest thing I could think of is my Adrian Street custom, which is a Daniel Bryan body. It's scaled to around 5'7", 5'8". And that's how much taller he is, Donna. You don't really need to zoom in to sort of show that point, do you? I'll dig a woman's figure out as well. We'll get a woman on the job. I feel like Kairi Sane is undersized as well. Oh, we've got Trish there. I'll get Trish. Right now I own the streets, keys to the city, let's get started. Actually, she's about the same size as Trish. So maybe it's a problem with scaling women rather than these exact figures. I don't know. I mean, Trish is a little bit taller. I think Trish probably... actually, no, yeah, they look about the same size. Maybe I'm just talking out my ass, but just to be completely clear, this is how she scales to Hornswoggle. I mean, she does look a bit small compared to Hornswoggle, really, doesn't she? But that is more or less everything I had for this video. So all in all, in terms of a review, mixed bag this one. I don't think it's a bad looking figure, but it's also not a person that I particularly care for. It obviously shelf warmed really badly. The scale is definitely off in some way, whether it scales to the other women or not. That's totally fine as long as she scales to the other women, but it's still off if she's not scaled to the men. The paint thing is weird. The double jointed elbows is a plus for everything at this sort of time period, because I don't know what the hell was going on with the rest of the boys. And the knee brace is a really cool detail as well. All in all, I don't think this is a bad figure at all. I mean, I think I paid like a tenner, possibly. I possibly got it when it was reduced to 8. Can't really remember. It was a year and a half ago. But for that price, she's definitely worth it. And what I like to do to end my figure unboxings is talk about what they're going to be doing in my figure fed. Now, Dakota Kai is definitely going to have a role in the figure fed, but it won't be one of any real consequence. She's probably just going to be filling roles for matches. You know, she's another woman on the roster. In my most recent kind of like writing down of women's roster plans, she helped to even it out to an even 16 people. So she'll probably keep a job for the time being because there's not a lot of women left for me to get. So yeah, she'll probably be turning up in some DSW action, if there ever is any. So, that being said, if you enjoyed this video... Ooh, those boot joints are going now. So, that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the NWOpenings playlist in the end screen. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.